Oh, what's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, the Traxy Demon Queen. And today I wanted to go over my Lightspin account and Trial of Abyss, but specifically Trial of Abyss. But before we get to all that good stuff, as always, toss a like and a subscribe down below. Trial of the Abyss, what is it? It's very similar to Legend Trial in that you clear a floor, you get rewards, you move on to the next floor. Speaking of rewards, there are a ton, and I mean a ton of good rewards here. You're going to get stellar crystals, invites, the various essences, crafting items for gear, and dust. When it comes to crafting items for the gear, it's the mythic ones that you may be running low on. Like when I started, I was probably around 220, 230 for most of the pieces, except for like 240 for a few key spots, but with the amount that I got, I was able to easily bump up all of my hero equipment to level 240. You get extra. Don't worry about it. You can always just sell it for gold, so extra resources isn't a problem. If you're struggling for dust and you have a dust shortage, you'll get a ton of it early on, and you get 100 every level for the 4 levels. Then on the 5th level you'll get like your essence, and then on the 10th level you'll get your invites. Now where I'm at, I still haven't seen any stellar crystals. They must be higher up in the tower, and as always we want to rank as high as possible because I love being first. So see, here we go, we're first, and then there's some additional rewards here for first clears. You'll see you'll get some extra invites when the first player clears these levels. So how do we get this far so quick? So I probably put about 2 to 2.5 hours into this thing, and I'm already more than halfway through it. Alright, so we'll get into it and we'll kind of cover it. So here we're at floor 88. We're starting to get a little bit more difficult once we got to the 80s, and I blew through the other floors pretty easily. So if you watched my earlier light spin guides, you may recognize this team. This is the Aaron Almost Ardent Floorbell team that I highly recommended for early push, where you could just auto battle through a lot of things. And then you throw in a support hero. Here I throw in Haywen. She works pretty well. And as you can see, she's been built up. She's got the shiny. She's S+. I did that through the Epic Recruit, All Hero Recruit, and Arena. I didn't buy her Lego pack. I just built her up over time. This team works really, really well early on for floors 1 through 32. I really didn't have too many issues with it. The only thing I will say is sometimes you need to change up the formation based on what you're going up against. As you'll see, the enemies typically load up on this side here or this side here, so you may need to flip-flop your formation here just to deal with that. Once in a blue moon, they'll be in the middle. As far as artifacts go, you're going to want to run either Star Shard or Confining. Typically with this team, I run Confining because you want that little extra bit of control, because you're just kind of slowly burning them down over time. Sometimes you'll need that extra little bit of haste, and then I'll run Star Shard Spell. Now, if you're wondering, oh no, I built the other push team that you built, the more manual team, the one with Odie in it. Don't worry. Like I said, you run into this problem around stage 32, where this team doesn't work as well. Why doesn't it work as well? Because you're going to run against counter control units here, like Shakir. Then there's Seth and Sylvina that kind of give this grouping problems. So we run into those heroes. Typically what we want to do is we want to switch out, and then we're going to want to put in our Odie, our Lumont, and Smokey. And now you can see I'm stuck on this level, and I've been kind of going back and forth between these two comps, just trying to find the position that works the best and what comp works the best. Again, with this comp, you're typically going to run Star Shard, and then in situations, you are going to run Confining if you need that extra little bit of control. Now, the advantage of the Odie team is we can then manually target the problem children on the opposite side. So we can target Shakir and try to burn him down quickly. We could target Cecilia, try to burn her down quickly. Same thing goes for Seth, because Seth becomes a real big problem whenever we do run in him, because he has a tendency to just delete your heroes. With Sylvina, we we want to use Omis here to eat her teleport charge and the initial stun that she will do, because if she gets anybody else, she's probably going to kill them. So we use Omis to kind of absorb that. He can take the hit, and then he moves back to the side, and then he kind of tanks her. Maybe you use Odie to burn her down, unless you have another high priority target, like you have a stage with a Sylvina and a Seth, and then you kind of have to burn Seth down first, and then go for Sylvina. Or if you like have Shakira and Sylvina, you may want to burn down Shakira first. Now this will work for most of your stages. Sometimes you might run into a roadblock where this comp isn't working, the formation you try just isn't working. My recommendations is you go into the records for what I like to call inspiration. But one of the problems is you're going to notice is that the teams either have higher synergy level than you, maybe they have better EX weapon than you, and then you're going to kind of run into problems. But you can kind of use these for inspiration. This one here is what I would call a real problem, because again, this is from in season. They were obviously pretty far in the season when they got to this, so that one's not going to be very helpful. How can I tell? Because they have a seasonal artifact here, and their levels are quite low, which indicates seasonal levels. So that's not going to be very good for us. Other heroes that I have used so far have been Friesto, and that's it. I haven't really had to use anybody else. I've kind of been able to get this configuration or the other configuration to work for everything else. But so far, we've gotten pretty far ahead of the pack. Again, if we go back here to the rankings, we are number 1. Number 2 is only at 46. Again, we're more than halfway through the tower at this point. We're just going to have to build synergy levels over time. Maybe get some more yellows to build EX weapons. Speaking of EX weapons, if I was going to invest more in my account at this point, that's where the power gain I would go for is over the power gain from Paragon levels, just because maybe building up Arden to a plus 10 would help out a bit more. Florabelle to plus 10 might help out a bit more. But those are kind of the key ones that I would build up. As you can see, I did some building. I got Lily May up to plus 15. I think she's at like a 16 or 17. I dumped some reds into her. So plus 19, we can actually plus 20 her, which is good because boss fights, so let's go ahead and do that, right? So obviously, she's one of the few characters that you really want to get to plus 20. Again, because of her versatility on boss fights and arena. Then I built Odie, because he's been key in that push comp, and he's really good for bossing for Dream Realm and all that other stuff. And then Marilee's a 10. Thorn I built to 10. You know, basically I tried to build my arena team first, and so now we're running into a little bit of an issue with the push team and the yellows. So hopefully, you know, the influx of yellows that we get will increase, and then as we get more yellows over time, we can kind of distribute them to those key characters, being Arden, Florabelle, perhaps a Lumont, and those are kind of only the really ones I would think about, other than maybe like Huen, or building up some of the other characters to plus 15, but it is costly to get up to plus 15, because I am currently trying to get Friesto up to plus 15, but as you can see, not really buying the yellows is really hurting. So we just want to try to get as much of those as we can out of trial as quick as possible, just to give us that advantage, and again, just to get all those free invites and all that other good stuff. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, always toss them down below, and I will catch you all later. Bye.